Yeah, what I said was,
Sorry, I'm recording. I want to warn you, I'm recording. Yeah, after prepositions, after words like in, on, of, at, yeah, those little prepositions, we always use a gerund if it's a verb. So sorry for being late. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
I might have
Okay.
misheard you. You might have said it right. I'm not sure, being honest.
Okay. That's no problem.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing today? You sound very upbeat, very happy. What's going on your end? Any news? Where are you? Where are you
Well,
from? Tell me a little bit about yourself, because I've never met you.
okay. I'm from Venezuela, but currently living in Peru.
Uh-huh.
I've I've been living here for about 5 years now,
Uh-huh.
and I'm still learning English, but I'm teaching it too, and teaching English and Spanish.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay.
well, English, it's like a mystery to me every time I
Me too,
try
Kenny. Me
to
too. Go on. Sorry.
try to decipher the sounds that made them speak smoothly. Wow, there are new things that I discovered. Before connecting to this class, I was listening to an audio that says something like this, teacher, and
Go on.
it amazed me. And so he thinks that let's see, wait
Go
a
on.
minute, let me remember. Yeah.
Go on. It's good to do some questions for a change. We usually do the pictures, so it's nice to have some questions.
Linkings when the some words are connected, the sometimes the consonant changes from unvoiced to voiced,
Uh-huh.
and that is not written in textbooks
Yeah.
and English methods.
So that's on the
I
pronunciation course, I think. Have you been doing the pronunciation course? Yeah.
Yeah,
I see. I remember doing something, and I remember doing about voiced th and unvoiced th. Yeah. Is it about that, or also f and v? Yeah.
yeah. And the consonants that were in this part were the like
Uh-huh.
thick or think, and the other one was the change was to the like V's. So the word sounds a little bit different because that's not the consonant. It's normally we used to normally to pronounce that word, and
It
that
can change it. It's like loath and loathe. Loath and loathe. They're two different words and they're the same pronunciation except for and the at the end. The voiced th is very subtle. And being honest, as a kid, I never used it. A lot of people here grow up just using f and the instead of so they say thanks, for example. I think lots of people in my local area just say thanks rather than thanks. And to me, they sound almost identical. They really do. I don't hear much of a difference between the f and the th. But I do a different thing with my tongue. I can feel what I do differently. And yeah, there is a slight difference. I do hear the difference, but it's so slight. It is really subtle.
wow.
But yeah, it can be quite confusing, I think, with the pronunciation, especially with the th sound. I think it's the hardest thing in English. And the good news is that loads of natives have never used it. And I mean the th. Lots of people in my area, they grow up just using f instead of th. And yeah, I think people in a lot of places do it, being honest. So yeah, don't worry too much.
Okay. Is there any rule for another thing that I heard? The phrase is "Welcome to the," that phrase in an audio. I heard "Welcome to the time." That phrase, "Welcome the time." Why the M there? That's American English, but there's no textbook that explain that when you have an M at the end of, for example, welcome, and then a word that start with the T sound, to, you can change the two into M and say it like welcome.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that rule, being honest, Kenny. I'm not sure. Welcome to the sometimes, you know, it's only when you start to think about how you say something that you feel that something's different. But yeah, you do need to sometimes it hasn't occurred to you, and so yeah, I need to think about it first to decide, especially with welcome or something like that. But shall we do then? I wanted to ask firstly, Anna, do you have any questions, Anna? Because I remember you were asking me something on the website, and I'd be delighted to, you know, especially about tenses. I remember you asked me something about tenses, and they're really tricky. You know, I know they're a pain.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I've just come back from holiday, and so I'm a little bit out of
I
practice.
see you got a ton.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I've been in Croatia. It was very sunny every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's amazing place.
Yeah, it was
And
lovely. It was lovely. We were right next to Dubrovnik Castle. Do you know the big Dubrovnik?
no, I have no idea. I never been in Croatia, but I heard a lot about this place. It's amazing nature, like even like you can say virgin,
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely, absolutely. Pristine. Yeah, maybe untouched, pristine.
untouched. Yeah, this is better.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. It was spectacular. Really nice beaches, really nice coastline, and really nice cars.
Get your sound, Benute.
Sorry?
Sorry, I mean my husband got the sound now.
Okay,
because
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So I didn't heard what you said. Yeah, I would love to visit this place one time. And it's nice and warm. In Denmark, we didn't have a summer. I'm freezing. I walk around with a hat on.
What, really? It's that cold in Denmark? Yeah.
It's so cold. It's so dark and it's rainy. And it's like, I also plan to go to Lisbon soon to surf and like looking forward.
Did you say to surf?
Yeah, I like surfing.
Okay, fantastic. And it's got good surf in Lisbon? Yeah, is it good for surfing?
It is, but you have to have some experience.
Sure, I can imagine. You need
classes
first, yeah, go training, yeah.
Always. But keep in mind that Atlantic Ocean for both of sides is 15 degrees. So you have to wear a wetsuit.
Okay.
If you want to go in. It's not like a Bali or Sri Lanka where you can be almost naked.
Yeah,
so
I can understand.
Water is really cold, so when I do surfing there, I have to use wetsuit.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, a lot of people use them here. We have a lot of water sports here, and of course, our water isn't very very warm up here, but lots of people do them. We have kite surfing is very popular around here because we've got very good winds for kite surfing, and we have a very strong tide here. I've never seen another country like ours, if I'm honest, where the sea disappears twice a day, every day. It goes very, very far away, and then it comes back again. It goes about 8 kilometers, I think, out, and then comes back in. And so we have it means that it's very, very shallow. And so it's perfect for training, as for kite surfing training, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's true. Dave, I really want to say that I'm enjoying your lessons. I find them very useful.
I'm enjoying. Still in them.
I'm enjoying, and I always think about you like, oh, I'm so happy that I met you this class. But I'm sometimes confused with these answers, and I'm sorry that I maybe spam sometimes with this question.
No, don't, please. I really appreciate you making corrections actually on some of those. You know, I was too quick with when I write a lot of the quizzes. I miss words out, and so I appreciate it when you tell me. I change them on my website. I change them on Udemy as well, and I want to change both of them. Of course, I want the courses to be as good as possible, and so I really appreciate it. But do you have any questions about the tenses?
Yeah, I confuse with the perfect continuous. It's a present and past. I cannot understand what the difference between have been doing and had been doing.
I just have been doing and had been doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, it all depends whether you are telling the story in present tenses or past tenses, whether you use have been or had been, because you can tell a story in present tenses and then you'd use the 4 present ones, or you can tell them in past tenses and use the 4 past, but we'd usually do one or the other. Now, it's true that you can mix them, and we very often do when we're speaking in a relaxed way. But I mean, generally speaking, you don't need the perfect continuous very often. That's number one. You really don't. It's only about the main time to remember the perfect continuous is when you say for or since or how long. It's the best way to learn the tenses, the signal words. It really is, because they're always there. It's the signal word that demands that you use a had been doing. And it's usually with verbs like wait, like drive, like learn. It's never with know. It's never with understand. It's never with believe. Some words are just never in that tense, which is why it's so rare.
For dynamic, the perfect continuous.
Yeah, they name it perfect continuous, exactly. Or I mean, I like to think of it as 4 aspects for each tense. I'll pass it over to you, Kenny, 1 second. But yeah, I like to think of it as four aspects for each tense: for present, for past, for future, and for modal verbs, and for gerunds and infinitives as well. There's basically 4 aspects. And the good news is the have been doing or had been doing or must have been doing is extremely rare. It's extremely rare. It's barely ever there. And when you see it, it's nearly always there with a for, a since, a how long. And so you really want to be looking out for those words. So go for it, Kenny. Jump in.
About the present perfect continuous and present perfect simple, I could say I've lived here for about 4 years, and I've been living here.
They are.
Both are okay?
I would say with live, work, and feel, with those 3 verbs, we say I feel great, I'm feeling great. Yeah, we do it with simple and continuous, and with perfect simple and perfect continuous. You can use one or the other with those 3 verbs. You can say I live here or I'm living here. I work here or I'm working here. Those 3 in particular, you could use one or the other. It doesn't matter, simple or continuous, perfect simple or perfect continuous. They seem to be fine, and that's why you don't really hear mistakes with those 3 words, because any tense is fine. Yeah, so there are some situations when all 4 aspects are possible, and those 3 words are very common for them.
Like I have example, I have been losing weight for 3 months.
Perfect. Excellent.
And with the different, I had been losing weight for 3 months.
So what's the difference between
with my Russian head, I cannot translate it and get the meaning. I cannot feel the difference.
Yeah, the only way to feel the difference is to put it in context, because in isolation there isn't really much difference. I mean, one is until the present moment, sure, and one is, I mean, they're the same really, but one is until the present moment and one is something in the past that happened until that past moment. And so, the had been doing or had been. So, I mean, let's do an exercise on tense.
You said also this is just 1% when I will use. So I like, okay, why cares?
Exactly. I do think that people worry too much about that perfect continuous. Sometimes you'll see it, but it's rare. And, the difference between have been doing and had been doing is really, are you already explaining in the past tenses? If you are, then you probably need had been doing. If you're in present tenses, you probably need have been doing. But let's do a tense exercise together, because I've got loads of old, from student books, that kind of thing. I've got lots of tense exercises. So I'm just going to quickly pull up one. In fact, I'll look for perfect tense, because I have got one which just deals with perfect tenses. In fact, I've got one that I wrote, I think, for the I'm writing a new grammar ebook, and so there will be loads more exercises for this kind of thing. 1 second, let me just you just got to give us a sec while I find the right exercise here, because it'd be interesting to do an exercise together. So yeah, this is an old one from English File. This is pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna let somebody else in, but let's we'll go through it and we'll do 1 question each, guys. Okay, now I'm going to try to share my screen. Hopefully this will work. Excellent. Okay, you can see this is from an English File. You haven't done this before, have you guys?
No.
It's new for you. Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, let's have a look then. You've got Debbie talking to Tim. Yeah, I want you to. You can read it aloud. In fact, you start. Anna, you can start with Tim. Should have given it to Kenny. But anyway.
Yeah. Maybe I will be Debbie.
Kenny, you take sense. Tim. Yeah, it makes more sense. Kenny, you take Tim.
Okay, Debbie. Hi. What a coincidence seeing you here. How are you?
Tim, I'm fine. It's great to see you. I almost.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about the quality, but you've got to use not recognize here, not recognize, and put it in the correct tense. So, which tense do you think this would be?
It should be present.
Which one then in present? Which
just simple. No,
we wouldn't use present simple here because present simple would be something it happens regularly, every day, every week, and so not simple.
Continuous.
Not present continuous. Kenny, any ideas?
I'm thinking.
Are you sure it's going to be present? Yeah, are you sure it's going to be present?
I almost you with a verb. Past.
I agree. And which aspect?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Had not.
That just didn't. Yeah, didn't recognize here. Just past simple. Yeah.
Didn't. I
almost didn't recognize you with a beard. Yeah, and so just one thing that happened. I mean, most of the time you use simple aspect. It's much more common than continuous, which is much more common than perfect, which is much more common than perfect continuous. You know, it goes in that order where most of the time you're using simple. I think 90% of the time maybe you're using present simple, past simple, future simple. It's rare that you actually use the continuous, and it's even rarer that you use the perfect, although it does happen, and it's even rarer for the perfect continuous. Yeah. So yeah.
And I have not seen you for years.
Exactly. And you're looking for that for. You know, that for is the most important thing there. I haven't seen you for years. And so as soon as there's a for there, yeah, you need that perfect simple. Yes. And so yeah, haven't seen. Okay, let's keep going then on to Kenny.
Okay, it must be at least 6. I can't remember the last time we met.
Excellent. Yeah, and again, I want you looking at last time here. Last time is a signal that it must be past simple. When it's the 3rd of January or 3:30 or last time, last week, last month, it's always going to be past simple. You can see that most of the time it's simple, actually, most of the time. Okay, let's keep going. On to Debbie.
Oh, I can. It was in Budapest in 1998.
Excellent. We know when, so it's past simple again. Okay, keep going. On to Kenny.
Wow, what a memory. What? Now 5.
There are many.
What are you doing now?
What are you doing now? Yeah, excellent. What are you doing now works, but how would it change the meaning if I said, what do you do now? How would it change the meaning? Because both are possible here. And I agree, in this exercise, you need continuous because of the answer. The answer makes it very clear that you do need continuous. So you are 100% correct. But how does it change the meaning if we say, what do you do?
Maybe because if I say, what do you do, if I'm talking about what is she doing for a living?
Exactly.
Maybe.
It's profession, it's a living. Exactly. As soon as you say, what do you do? You mean what job do you do? And that's why really we must use continuous here. But just because of the answer, we can see in the answer that she doesn't talk about her work. She talks about where she lives or where she is living. And so, yeah, for that reason, we need continuous. Yeah. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. On to Debbie.
I live in New York. I just came back to visit my mother.
I agree. It's possible. I mean, your answer is good. It is actually correct. Technically, you can say that as well. You can use past simple or present perfect with just. We very often, in the student books, I'm sure in the Murphy, they very often teach that have just, already, yet are all present perfect signal words. And that's why you can certainly put this into present perfect as well. I have just come back to visit my mother. I just came back sounds too finished and like it's got no relation to the present, you know, but and so it is still possible actually with just to use past simple. It is just like it is possible actually with already. You know, I think teachers don't tell you this sometimes, but actually, yeah, you can use past simple with already. He already did that. That's not a mistake. But we're trying to teach you that these are the times when you do see present perfect. It's with just, it's with already, it's with yet. And it's because these words do have a connection between the past and the present. And that for me is present perfect. You know, it's a connection. You know, it is a past tense in a way, but it's a present tense as well. And so it's a connection between the past and the present, something in the past that has a present result. And so, yeah, I have just come back to visit my mother is probably more common than I just came back to visit my mother. But I do agree that you can actually use already, yet, just in past simple. It's not a mistake, you know, it's too strong to say that's a mistake. Okay. And yeah, you can say I live in New York or I'm living in New York. Both are possible there. And as soon as you add a for, you know, it's going to be I have been living in New York or I have lived in New York. And so, yeah. Okay, on to Kenny.
I can't see the word that goes with.
Sorry.
Okay. So you said that was present perfect because of the just word that is next to come back. So in this case, my question would be, how long have you been living in New York?
Yeah, it's trying to remind you that how long is another one of these perfect signal words. And so be aware of it, that's when you see the perfect continuous or maybe perfect simple, probably more often perfect simple because we have so many stative verbs. Yep. I think we have a lot of verbs which are stative, which you just never use in continuous. Remember, you have a lot of performative verbs. I'm putting this in the new course I'm doing a new master grammar course, and I talk about performative verbs like promise. You never say I am promising or I have been promising because it's you perform the action when you use this verb. And with performatives, you very rarely see them in continuous. A couple of them you do, but many of them you can't use in continuous. Okay, we have someone new in the classroom. Do you have a microphone turned on, Omar? Because it's got a cross on. Hello.
Hello.
So nice to meet you, Omar. Where are you from?
From Turkey.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'm going to put you straight onto the exercise if we're on the tense exercise. So what do you think for number 9? You can see it's Debbie, but what do you think for number 9? I
haven't been there since 1999, right?
Good. I have been there. I think it wants positive, but yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I missed the whole context. That's why I was not sure if it's gonna be negative or positive. That's why I have made it negative.
Okay, yeah, indeed. Okay, well, it's yeah, I have been there since 1999. So again, since it's telling you about these signal words again. Okay, and what do you think for number 10? Yeah, and the verb is here.
We had we bought
a house last year.
We bought a house last year.
Yeah, past simple because last year, absolutely.
Last year.
Okay, keep going. Do one more though, as you've just joined us. One more with I see you.
So I see you. I see you are wearing wedding ring.
Excellent.
Right? Because we usually use wear in continuous form,
yes,
right?
Yeah, I agree. Memorize certain verbs like wear, like wait. They're the only ones that you see in continuous. You know,
and which is a little bit weird for other languages because, for example, in Turkish we do not use where in continuous.
Really?
Because it is something like a noun or adjective in Turkish.
Oh,
it might be a little bit
okay. I see. Yeah, it's not a verb, and so it's or you don't use it verbally. Yeah, you use a different expression to say what somebody is wearing. Now, where will almost always be in continuous. You know, when you describe somebody, of course, he is wearing, she is wearing. And yeah, so I agree. You know, with I see, very often you see continuous because I see someone is doing something. Yeah, I see that two men are fighting. And that's why you can use a gerund after I see two men fighting. Yeah, I saw two men fighting because they were in the middle of the action. And so very often with I see, you see present continuous or past continuous. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Let's come back to, I can't remember whose turn it is now, down to Tim. Fantastic. Is it your turn, Anna?
I can just say yes, that's right.
So how long?
Fantastic. How long be?
Sorry, yeah, it's B.
So it's focused on duration.
It is, but B is B. Can you say how long have you been being?
No.
You can't, can you? B is a stative verb. B is another state. It describes a state of existence, you know, if something either is or it isn't.
Had? No. Had? How long have you?
Yes, have you, because you mean, you wouldn't say had you been married here. If you say how long had you been married, that sounds like they're divorced already. Yeah, if you say, and so there is a big difference here between have you been and had you been, certainly. You know, here you need the have you been, otherwise it sounds like you already know that that person's divorced and you're saying, oh, how long had you been married before you got divorced? That's what the had you been, you know, you could use it if the person was divorced and you already knew that, but that's rare. I mean, usually you're saying, yeah, how long have you been married? Yeah, and you can see the wedding ring, so, you know, definitely, have you been married?
How long have you been married?
Excellent. Okay, on to Kenny. So
okay, for 2 years, we had our first child 6 months ago. Are
Excellent.
you still with number? It's the same number.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you still with, what's her name? Erica?
Very good. Okay, excellent, Kenny. Yeah, and absolutely 6 months ago is always past simple. Yeah, and so do look out for these signals. Okay, on to Omar with Tim. No, we
Now we divorced, right?
Yeah,
now
good. And what's another word? What's a phrasal verb for divorce? A phrasal
got
verb.
divorced. Got divorced.
We got divorced last year. Excellent. What's a phrasal verb? I know you can't see it, and I'm not going to let you see it, but I'll see if you can remember it. What's a phrasal verb?
Divorced?
We got divorced. It's
divorced.
correct. It's totally correct. Got divorced. But do you know the phrasal verb, the two-word verb?
Break up.
We broke
Break up.
We split up. Excellent. Break up or split up. Both of them work. We use these phrasal verbs all the time. You know, I think to sound really natural in English, it's essential, it's necessary to learn as many phrasal verbs as possible, because that's what the natives are using. We always say split up or break up. You know, we would never say like ended a relationship or something like that. It sounds much more formal. Okay, so keep going. Omar, on to she, and it's go back.
Me?
Yeah, go on one more time as it's the same sentence.
The fifth one, right?
15.
One.
15.
Here
And so this is go back. Sorry, it's up here. I know it's a bit annoying like this, but go back. She.
So still we are in the last year, so we need to continue in this in the past.
Exactly.
So we went to Hungary.
Yeah, she went back to Hungary. She went to Hungary. She went back to Hungary. Exactly.
Yeah, she went back.
Exactly. You're still last year. Last year's finished. Anytime you talk about finished periods, yeah, past simple most of the time. Okay, keep going, Anna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's still live.
Still live.
So this is a question.
Still live.
Which aspect do you think we very often use with still? And I agree that there are maybe.
Get yourself.
Go on.
I don't know.
If you are complaining, you can also use it in the continuous, right?
We very often see still in the continuous, yeah, and so this is continuous. Go on, Omar.
usually in the simple present.
Good. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Very often. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can use it in the simple present? Yeah, indeed. So, which one do you think is correct then for 16? There are two possibilities here.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you are saying I'm sorry, then the context is in the present. We have am because there, and where you used to, where.
So no question word here, just a yes or no question. So we start with an auxiliary verb.
Yep.
Kenny, what do you reckon?
What is the sentence, teacher?
It's this one.
Okay,
It's with
16.
still live, and it's a question. You're asking the person. There's two correct answers here, and this is a good example of how very often you've got two to choose from here.
I'm sorry, number 16. What word is it?
The word is still live. Still live. The verb is live, and you need to
live, right? Do you still live where you?
Do you still live where you used to live? It's correct. And are you still living? And it's because it's live. Yeah, live, work, feel. You remember that? Live, work, feel. Very often you can use one.
Usually we are referring to a permanent situation when we use simple present, and live is usually used in the permanent situations, because when you say I'm living somewhere for a short period of time, yeah, this might refer to the.
I would say that with live, work, and feel, with those three verbs, you can use simple or continuous. And that's why do you still live is correct, and are you still living is correct. Both are correct here. Just like I live, I can say I live in England, but I can say I'm living in England as well. And the only difference is I'm living sounds more temporary. And so I usually say I live. I do usually say I live. But there's nothing wrong with I'm living. Perhaps it is temporary. You might change your mind. I might change my mind. I'll never say never. I would like to travel to other countries. I really would. And when the children have finally finished growing up, they almost have. They're getting older. Polly's 15 now. Michael's 12. And so I really hope that they fly the nest, that they also like exploring the world and they go to other countries. And when they do, I would like to maybe live like a digital nomad. And so maybe I am living in the UK, it's better than I live, because I would never say that I'm going to do it for the rest of my life at this address. And so really, yeah, with live, work, and feel, those three verbs, understand that it's very flexible. With a lot of other verbs, it's not so flexible.
Teacher, taking advantage of the opportunity with you today, I have a question. Have you thought about making a course specifically about connections? For example, what happened when the verb used is next to a word like to? What happened with those two consonants, like used and the two in to? How you pronounce it normally when you're speaking fast? Those kind of things.
Stress. Do you mean like stress at different parts of the sentence?
So,
yeah. Sometimes we stress the ending of the sentence. Sometimes the start of the sentence.
But when you speak fast, you pronounce both consonants. Used to, or you just make one.
I would only pronounce, I mean, for me, used to is only one sound. I don't say used to, no. In fact, no. It would always be used to. And so, I don't say used to, never. When we mean like something in the past, like I used to play chess, I used to play rugby, something like that. No, I would never pronounce the D. And, used something to, I used my... I don't know, I used my key to open the door. Yeah, that would be used. My key to, certainly. But a very good question.
That would be infinitive of purpose, right?
Please, Omar, go on. What's your question, please?
That would be, in that case, infinitive of purpose, to open the door.
Yes, indeed. We're using a 2+ infinitive for purpose, and we always do. And so I went to the shops to buy some milk, something like that. Certainly. Okay, any more questions, guys? Because it's going to cut out in 5 minutes. And if you've got questions, please.
I have a question. If Kenny, my friend, you are done with your question.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. So normally we do not use any time expressions regarding, especially the simple past time expressions in past perfect tense, right? We don't use
Past
yes.
perfect also has signal words, certainly, and I think that present perfect signal words and past perfect signal words are the same. They are the same.
Yes.
You know,
Right. But as far as I know, it is not allowed to use, for example, 2 days ago or 5 months ago or yesterday in past perfect tense.
no, indeed,
Right?
they would be in past simple. I suppose, you know, the only way
No, past perfect. Yeah, these are time expressions that we use in simple past tense.
exactly.
But can we use them in past perfect tense? For
You need
example,
to give me an example for me to decide. Do you have a sentence? But I don't think... Go on.
For example, we
You know, the
have.
reason why I don't think so is because past perfect is always a period. It's still a period. It's not a moment. And past simple is a moment. It's 5 weeks ago. It's 2 months ago. It's the 2nd of January. You know, even when you say last year, you might think, well, that's a period, but it's a finished period. Well, I suppose past perfect is for finished periods, certainly.
Yes,
but yeah, you
it's
wouldn't...
a terminated action. We know
You know,
past perfect tense. We also use past perfect tense in type 3, for example, conditional types, right? For example, let me give you an example.
Please.
If I had money 2 years ago, I would have bought a new house, for example. Can we say this?
Yes, that's correct. If I had the money 2 years ago, I would have bought a house. It's 100% correct.
This means we can use
that's a good
past time
example. Yeah.
expression 2 years ago together with the past
No,
perfect
there is
tense.
no such rule. There's no such rule that you can't use past perfect with a go. There's no such rule. There's a rule that you can't use present perfect with a go. But I would never say you can't use past perfect with a go. You can, and you've just given me a very good example of when it's very natural to use past perfect and a go. Yeah, if I had enough money 2 years ago, we would have bought, or I would have bought a house. Yeah, definitely.
So in this situation, we can use 2 years ago together with past perfect.
Definitely, and it's correct. Yeah, it's present perfect that you mustn't use with a go. You know, there will be other examples as well, but third conditional yeah is a very good example of when you use past perfect and a go. And so it's only present perfect that you can't use with a go.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So
that's a really good example. You know, I'm thinking about reported speech now, because I usually tell students it's true that you usually see past perfect in reported speech. And so probably... Doesn't a go change in reported speech as well? It does, doesn't it? I need to think about this. It does change to 2 days earlier. Yeah, not 2 days ago, but 2 days earlier. Yeah, he told me that he had done it 2 days earlier, rather than 2 days ago. Although you can if it is from the present moment now. But you very often see those time expressions changed in reported speech. But yeah, I can imagine... You know, because you can still use a go even in reported speech if it is from the present moment. The problem is that it's always from the moment of speaking a go. Yeah.
So,
can I link it to another? Sorry, Kenny. Sorry.
Go on.
The example Omer was sharing with us was in the context of conditionals, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I was trying to give you a similar example with reported speech. And then I realized that you do change a go, but you don't have to. You don't have to. And so it is possible in reported speech to do the same thing that Omer did in third conditional, which is use a go with past perfect. Yes, it is. You know, there is no rule against using past perfect and a go, but present perfect is not allowed with a go. But it's very good.
If no more questions from the other friends, can I link the same question with other question?
Please.
By asking.
Yeah. Do it quickly, because we're running out. It's going to cut us off. Quick.
Okay. What about the use of past? Perfect modals. Okay, perfect modals. Could have plus verb 3, should have plus verb 3, etc. So can we use any simple past time expressions in these structures?
Yes, definitely. I could have done that weeks ago. Yeah, I should have done that weeks ago. Yeah, definitely. A go is fine with perfect modals. Absolutely.